Yo, 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 yo. Happy race day and Masters Sunday. And happy Easter. Happy to all those things. Let me pull up one more thing here before I get going. Cup. I want to look at last year's Luke Dad. I like to have up here. Bristol Dirt. Kyle Busch won. Dominating fashion. Kyle Busch won last year. Oh boy, the Masters. Oh boy, I can't believe I'm doing this in the back nine of the Masters. If you were to tell me at the beginning of the year that I'd be doing a live pre-race poll during the back nine of the Masters, I would have bet anything against you. Now, I'm not much of a gambler, and I expect viewership to be much lower today, as I don't blame them. I would for sure be watching the Masters as well. Looks like Rahm's safely aboard on 11. Very safe. He's got a 2-shot lead. Nothing to worry about there. But hey, we got a race to talk about here. And I actually do think that there's some potential to make some money. Obviously, I'm going to be sticking to live without practice. I know that we did have the heat races, which I thought were pretty entertaining. And the track looked awesome, by the way. The track looked really, really good. But let's get to talking about the race. And first, the poll. I got my good luck drink here. I had a friend in town that brought my my favorite dry cider for the poll from Canada. So I'm excited to have that. So first things first. Happy Easter. Happy race day. Cheers. Taking a poll. All right. This is the first time I've ever had the TV on and watching the Masters while my ADD ass is going to try to walk you through what's going to happen in the race. Yeah. Thanks on the good on the call with Dylan. Yeah, that looks good. Dylan's a good road course racer or road course. Okay, let me try that again. Dylan is a good dirt track racer. All right, but let's start at the top. Kyle Larson. Can Kyle Larson win today? Yes. Weird. Kyle Larson can win on a dirt track. Yeah, he wasn't the best, though. That's the thing about Kyle Larson yesterday. He seemed to not be as good as the 41, which I think is a really popular pick for everybody today. If you like Ryan Preece, I don't blame you. He looked great in that qualifier, running more consistent lap times and faster lap times than Larson towards the end of it. So, yeah, obviously Kyle Larson can win. I like to have him be a little bit more enthusiastic about his car. I don't think he was that excited about it after practice or after the heat races, but he can be there, and he's in HMS stuff, which has been awesome this year. So I expect Kyle Larson to be around. I have not invested in him at any point yet. That doesn't mean I won't, but it was quite clear that the 41 was able to get would have probably passed Kyle Larson had there been a longer run. Austin Dillon was pretty good, and he held off good drivers. He had Reddick and Bell in his qualifier. I know that these are only 15-lap heats, but man, he was still pretty good. And by the way, when Reddick passed him, he was able to actually cross him over and pass him back. So really good stuff out of Austin Dillon. Man, I do like him top 5. I think he can kind of hang out. I do think you'll just see dirt trackers up front. I think that especially the ones in good equipment, the Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, Chris Bell, Tyler Reddick, those guys are going to be really good. I think that they'll kind of be top 4 all day. JJ Yaley out of nowhere. I mean, I don't think he wins the race. I know he's got a great dirt background. Not high on him to win the race. But if there are some top 10s, I know that I think SC had, JJ Yaley top 10 at like 36-1. That's a pretty good price. I don't know that he still gets that done, but he could be competitive early. And if he gets out there to a lead, maybe he leads a few laps. I think that that's a possibility. I just don't know that he can win. Chris Bell looked to me like he was the best at maneuverability with his car. I think that he was able to make passes on the top and the bottom. You could tell he was super comfortable. He was definitely running down Reddick and Dillon in that heat race. That was a stacked heat race, by the way. Oh, man. To have all 3 of those guys in one heat is pretty crazy. I do think Chris Bell, his car looked the best. If I had to pick, I'm not going to pick the winner yet, but I do think that he looked the best. His car. Now, I do think the track is going to change a ton from yesterday to today. If you look at how greasy and shiny it was towards the end of the truck race last night, I mean, that was a completely different track that they ran their heat races on. So it'll be interesting to see who can stay ahead of the track changes. And I do still think that the slicker that this thing gets, the better the dirt track racers are. Kyle Busch, I don't know if you heard my rant on the Stay Green podcast. He just has not gotten it done for me at all in practice and qualifying. And I think he's kind of stolen a lot of these good finishes, was terrible at Richmond. I think he's one of those guys that'll be happy with like a top 5 to top 8 finish today. I'm not going to lie that I think his car is good. I don't think it's great. I don't think he's great on dirt relative to some of the dirt track ringers. I think he'd be happy with a 5th to 8th place finish. If he finds himself way back in traffic, I don't know how easy it's going to be for him to pass like these other dirt trackers, but I expect him to kind of be around 5th to 8th place. Tyler Reddick was really good. I can't imagine a race today where he's not contending for the lead multiple times, if not, winning the race. Price is pretty short everywhere. Austin Cindric was kind of a surprise. I know that he's not typically a great dirt track guy or someone that runs really well when they get, mad loose. I think he's better at these smooth, fast racetracks. So kind of a surprise. I don't expect him to kind of mix it up in the top 10 all day today. I don't know if Derek's on here. But I know that he loves to bet Austin Cindric no matter what. And then we go on to Ryan Preece, who was really fast in practice. If you look at these lap times, he was awesome. I don't know that he stays up there all day. That car, that 41 was really good there last year with Cole Custer. He qualified well. So I expect Preece to be good. It's just a matter of like, okay, now Preece is in a good car. So does he take more risks? Because I've been kind of on this thing where it's like, hey, if you have a bad car, let's just say you're Ryan Preece and you're a 25th place car, it looks like in practice and qualifying. So if you can work your way into the top 10 or top 12, you're going to be pretty happy with that. And you're going to be conservative and happy with that finish. However, now it looks like he's in a race winning car. That's way different. So there's going to be a higher beta. I think he could go out there and win the race, but he could also finish or get a DNF trying to get up there and lead laps. So this will be interesting to see how Ryan Preece reacts to having a really good car in practice, maybe the best car in practice. I don't know that his talent is where you want it to be in order to win the race when it comes to these dirt tracks, but who knows? He can be really good. So let's see. Derek just messaged me now. I don't know let's see if he has a comment about watching my phone and can't comment. He's not touching Cindric this race. Okay, everybody. So Derek is not on Cindric. So everyone can sleep at night a little better. I don't know why I said that. Ryan Blaney was sneaky good in practice. He was pretty consistent. It was great listening to him yesterday spot for Joey Logano. I thought that was pretty interesting. He did a pretty good job. And I think if you listen to enough NASCAR radio or NASCAR, driver radios, I feel like I could spot. I'd like to do it sometime. Maybe I can get a Truck Series guy to let me spot him one time. Maybe. I don't know if I want to do that. That'd be a lot of pressure, especially if I could live bet. I don't know that I want to do that. But Blaney's, I think that he's going to do better than expected. William Byron also ran pretty well. He kept the car pretty straight. Wasn't all yawed out like some of the other guys, like Briscoe and the other dirt trackers. But he was fast and he was coming in on the leaders. And I think he's pretty happy with the 10th place finish. He got some great experience yesterday in a truck. So I think that he'll be good. I don't think he'll be great. I think a top 5 would be a really good finish for him if you were to ask him right now. Bubba Wallace out of nowhere, really fast and very consistent. He just ran. He did exactly what he needed to do to win that heat. So I know that some people are looking at lap time saying, well, he wasn't that fast relative to the leaders, but you got to remember that track was a lot more slick in the latter heats than it was in the earlier ones. So, I expected those times to kind of fall off a little bit. So you kind of have to compare apples to apples. And I think that Bubba was pretty good. He didn't put himself in any position to get loose or get in the wall or kind of screw things up. He just kind of did exactly what he needed to do. Again, who knows what happens if he gets shuffled back in traffic. I mean, there's a big difference between running with, 7-8 cars on the track and actually, going out there with 40 cars on the track or however when we got 30, what do we have? 37 cars. So I'm not super high on Bubba, but I wouldn't be shocked if he had a good run. Joey Logano looked really good in the Truck Series, but the Truck Series was like 5 laps caution, 5 laps caution, 10 laps caution, 10 laps caution. So it was kind of brutal. I guess to Jay, to answer your question on Bubba Wallace top 10 at plus 175. I mean, I think you're gambling there. If that makes sense. I think that there's a chance. I do not think you're getting this, man, 175. I just feel like it's fairly priced. I'm not going to touch it. If you're high on Bubba, I like that top 10 price. And also I saw that he was a top Toyota at like 23-1 somewhere out there. I don't know if that's still around, but obviously he has to beat Chris Bell. But if Chris Bell wrecks out, which he has in one of these two races, I'm trying to think of who the next best Toyota is going to be. Obviously Tyler Reddick's going to be good. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you throw Reddick in there, and it doesn't seem like that good a bet. Okay, never mind on that. You'd have to Tyler Reddick and Chris Bell would have to wreck each other. Blaney has to show up at some point, doesn't he? He's a dirt racer, so surely he can score a top 5 at 3-1. Surely he can score a top 5. Ryan Blaney, by the way, doesn't have to show up. I've been waiting for him to show up for a long time and win 2-3 races in a row, and he just hasn't done it. Do I think Ryan Blaney could finish in the top 5? I do. I don't know that I like that 3-1 payout. Let's just look at the top 5. You got to imagine Kyle Larson and Chris Bell and Tyler Reddick are going to be in the top 5. So now is he he's 3-1 to be one of the 2 best next cars? I don't know. I mean, when you actually look at who the top 5 is going to be, we can all agree that Kyle Larson, Chris Bell, and Tyler Reddick are the best 3 on dirt. If you can even throw in Briscoe in there, I don't think this is good this week. But if you're going to take Blaney 3-1 on a top 5, you have to say he's going for 4th or 5th place. And so is he a 4th or 5th place car? I just don't think those other guys are going to fall out. So if you're going to place someone at top 5, you better be damn sure that they are the 4th or 5th best car, because unless it's, and you can even throw Austin Dillon in there. I mean, Dillon's not going to be a slouch either. So I'm just hesitant to take anybody in that top 5, because I just feel like 3 spots are already spoken for. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm just not as high on those, some of these, I guess, value top 5 position stuff. Moving on, Michael McDowell. I feel like he'll be serviceable. If he can somehow, I don't know how you steal track position. I guess to kind of just talk through this. If there's no tire fall off, once everyone's inside their window, they will be pitting, and then they will never pit again. So there's not going to be strategy involved. That's just not going to be a thing. So I think once everyone's in their window, which, I'm assuming after stage 2, that's when everyone pitted and they were done pitting. I know that they might need help with yellows, but that's pretty much going to happen. You're going to get yellows here. I don't think that that's going to be an issue. I think I saw an over-under for totals on cautions was like 12.5. That's pretty short for the amount of laps we're going to be running today. Or that's a pretty high amount of cautions projected for the short amount of laps that we're going to run. So, I agree, Chris. I'm Blaney. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to work him into my card. He can't be trusted, and I wouldn't be shocked if he finished 20th. Let's moving on here. Chase Briscoe, he was not nearly as good as I thought he was going to be in practice. And here's what I took away from the truck race last night. He was not in one of the best trucks, but I kind of thought he was the best driver in the dirt, like best dirt track racer in the truck series yesterday. And he did not have, he was an afterthought. He was never in consideration. Whereas I feel like you could put Kyle Larson in any truck in that, and he's up there racing for the win. So I think that Briscoe does need to have a car that just agrees with his driving style and a setup that's actually, he could make some passes. I didn't see that yesterday. Now, am I rushing to fade him? Hell no. I am not fading him after what he did last year. I think that there's still a lot of unknowns, and what happens to this track after 50 or 60 laps of 37 cars being out there. So if it gets really, really slick and all these cars have no choice but to be yawed out, yeah, Chase Briscoe could be really, really good, even though he did not look good in the heat races. Todd Gilliland, getting a ton of Todd Gilliland love. Everyone seems to be talking about it. I don't think it's much of a secret anymore at this point that he races pretty well. I know that I've seen some group bets with him in there where there's some value, but overall, I don't really trust Todd Gilliland. Let's be honest. He's still Todd Gilliland. I know that he's on dirt, which is where he's better, but excuse me. Ross Chastain, I don't know. He'll overdrive his car at some point, and probably stall out and then get the caution and then fire it back up and stay on the lead lap. That sounds like something that Ross Chastain does all the time whenever he gets a chance. I'm pretty sure he did it at Coda. And I think that should be penalized at some point. But I don't know. I think Ross just drives too aggressively for this kind of track. I think that you need to be selectively aggressive. And I don't think he's selectively aggressive. I just think he's damn aggressive all the time. Alex Bowman, I kind of think that he'll move forward. He's just a guy that, man, just seems to figure it out. He's got some great finishes. His average finish over the last 2 races is 14, but he also, the first 2 dirt track races, that is. But he also had a better starting position. So this is kind of the worst starting spot that he's had. He's scored 1 top 10, and I don't know. He's just been kind of getting it done. Last year, he started 8th and finished 6th, had 102 driver rating. I mean, you can't really argue with his results at this point this year. I just think he's really solid. He's just kind of on a no fade list for me, unless he blatantly says my car is trash. I have no interest in fading him, but I don't think that this is the week to bet on him at all. Eric Jones, man, just not as high on him. The car looks sick, though. I think that all black car looks really good. I'm not sure how I feel about him. Eric Almirola is typically trash here. I know he's a favorite against Gregson in some on-screen matchups, but minus 175. I don't think you bet Eric Almirola minus 175 almost ever in a matchup. I have a few friends that bet NASCAR, on my Discord that I give out some picks, and they call him a range player. It's kind of funny. They say he like stripes it on the range and then goes out and shoots, 90. So I think that's kind of funny that's what they've noticed with Eric Almirola. Harrison Burton, I don't really have a feel on. Jonathan Davenport looked like he ran well. I don't think he was the best call car. I would have to say that was Justin Haley. He ran some really fast laps towards the end of his heat. I don't know. These specialists, they come in here and sometimes they're decent and sometimes they're trash. I just don't know. I don't know where to put him on this. Ricky Stenhouse, I thought he'd be a little bit better. Also a guy that's really scary to fade. I don't care what he looks like in this dirt car. He's really tough to fade. Let me see here. Ty Gibbs. Oh, man, Ty Gibbs struggled. I can't imagine Ty going out here and having a great run. I mean, I just can't imagine. There's just so much trouble you can find, and starting back there in 23rd. Same goes for Matt Crafton. Shout out to Cody Ware. I hope whatever he's dealing with, he can work out. Justin Haley is a guy that I think could kind of move forward. He's a guy that can make passes, and if he's really aggressive, if he finds himself in the top 10 running some fast laps, he might be a live bet. He ran some really fast laps towards the end of his heat, and I think he's just kind of good in this scenario. I like Justin Haley. Clearly, to me, I thought that he was the best college car. If you move to Kevin Harvick, based on his comments, I don't think Kevin Harvick gives a shit about this week. He just whatever. He doesn't care. I can't imagine Kevin Harvick working his way up through the field. I just think he's like, oh, this is just one race that I can just kind of cross off and not really care about. Jacob, I'll get to your question here in a second. Truex, man, he was kind of trash, but like those guys that ran in the later heats, I think that the track was a little tougher, a little bit more slick. Clearly the times fell off because even guys out front weren't running as fast a time. So I think you can't really compare lap times from the drivers in heat 4 versus the lap times in heats 1 and 2. I just don't think that would be a fair comparison. I think you kind of have to compare them just within their heats and how they ran. So, but he ran well here, and the first time Truex did. And let's see, how was Truex last year? Yeah, just a non-factor, a driver rating of 54. So, yeah, I don't know about Barry over Harvick though. Like that scares me. Barry he spun. What if he spins out 5 times? I do like Haley over Gibbs. I'm not sure what price you're paying there. Let's see. All right. I'll get to the best bet and outright if you remind me before I kind of sign off here. I think Haley will beat Gibbs, but also Haley's a guy that could, it depends on the price you're getting. I'm not sure what price. I don't have my screen in front of me. Reddick, Larson, Bell effectively minus 200. I don't know what you mean there, Mitch. If you just bet them all, you mean? I'm kind of confused, I guess, what your question is. I don't think they should be minus 200. Yeah, I don't mind Haley over Gibbs. I think I should pull up my sheet here because I don't have it, but I'll try to grab it here quickly. Bet 1 unit on each, and they're minus 200. I just don't think you're minus 200. Reddick, Larson, Bell. I wouldn't pay minus 200 on them to win. I don't like that. This is a dirt race. They still have to run it. I think they're going to be really good, but a lot can happen. And a lot can happen. I mean, didn't Bell wreck Larson 2 years ago? I mean, those are two guys that were super, super competitive, and they wrecked each other and they were out. And I just remember Larson going on there and being like, oh, Bell. Logano over Byron. Ooh, I don't know that I like that. Byron's kind of in my no fade zone there, Alex. Busch over Briscoe. I do like that. If I had to lean, I like Busch over Briscoe, because Briscoe, if he doesn't win, he's just going to be trying to rim ride and trying to figure something out. So I feel like it's checkers or wreckers for Briscoe. I feel like that team's kind of starting to get into desperation mode. So I do think that Briscoe is going to be checkers or wreckers. And man, I think you're gambling taking Logano over Byron. I think Logano was good yesterday, but that's just because he was out front. Nobody knows what happens in that truck race if they actually run, heaven forbid, 40 laps under green. It just didn't happen. So I'm not interested in fading Byron. I'm okay with Busch over Briscoe, because Busch is going to be happy with an 8th place finish, and Briscoe is going to try to win the race from 10th, if that makes sense. Can we all agree on that Briscoe is just not going to take a good finish today? I think he's just going to try to win the race. And if that means that he's going to wreck while that happens, then, Briscoe even comments that his finger will impact. Yeah, for sure. And his finger. Yeah, that's a great point, Connor. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine. I've broken a finger before. I can't imagine driving a race car. I can't imagine driving a moped, let alone a race car. So I think that's going to be hard. that certainly would be hard to do, and certainly would probably impact him. Yeah, let's see. Where are we at here? Jonathan Airport, Ricky Stenhouse, Ty Gibbs, Justin Haley, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex. Chris Buescher, he's getting a lot of love because he's matched up against some muffins, I feel like. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Chris Buescher. Let's see. If we look at last year, Chris Buescher. Where did he finish? Someone help me. Chris Buescher. He was kind of 15th all day with a 77 driver rating. So, and when it comes to lap times, let's see, where is he? Yeah. I don't know. I think you're going to have to be super aggressive on restarts here in order to make it happen. So any of these guys back here, I feel like it's a bit of a gamble. It's going to be hard. Yeah, I kind of expected more out of RFK as well. Ross, kind of behind on the live, but question: do you think during the heats Larson was experimenting with the track, seeing if the top was workable? No, I think he was looking for speed anywhere, and he even said after his interview, like, "Whoa, I was not as fast as the 41." So I think that came as a shock to him, and he was not searching. Like, he loses that spot, he doesn't qualify in the pole. I don't even know where he qualifies if he loses that one spot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure. No, I don't think he was searching. I think he just wasn't as fast as the 41. Allmendinger. I don't know about Allmendinger. He's a guy that I feel like, wow. Oh, Koepka made a bogey on 12. Oh, this thing's over. By the way, John Rahm played awesome. He doubled the first hole, and then he had to play through that second round crap that Brooks was just sitting around eating bonbons. Like, Rahm was the best player this week. If he goes on to win, I don't have a problem with it. I'd love to have him triple the last and have Phil win, though. That would just be hilarious. Parts of me like to watch the world burn, and Phil Mickelson winning the Masters this year would be just hilarious. All right. Denny Hamlin. So I'm not sure on Dinger. Like, was not super fast in his qualifying stuff. And I think this is the first time he's been on dirt. He didn't run this race last year. Denny Hamlin, again, I think that he'll just be happy when this weekend's over. He just likes to get through it. I know that he was competitive the first time around, but I think he qualified a lot better. There's a big difference, man. Grinding your way up through the field is like a little bit of talent and a little bit of luck. And if you're going to be counting on luck, then that's a bad thing. That's why I have this big stay green sign. Stay green means I just want to see green flag laps and I want to bet on the best car. I don't want to have to see a caution for my bets to win. And I just feel like you got to get lucky. If you're going to be taking these guys deep in the field, they're going to have to get lucky to get up there through there. And it's just not going to be easy. Josh Berry, again, yeah, he had laps better than Harvick, but he also spun out. So I don't know his background. If someone knows his background, with some dirt in there, I just know short track. Ty Dillon, I mean, I think that car is just struggling. Last year, he was awesome relative to the stuff he was in. Don't see that happening again this year. I in fact, faded Ty Dillon with Ryan Preece. And Brad Keselowski, brutal. But he ran one good fast lap at the end. Like, he ran... Okay, how about this for a stat? Brad Keselowski ran the fastest lap yesterday on his last lap. So I don't know. What do you do with that information? Qualifying far back. I mean, Daniel Suarez. Oh man, brutal out of Daniel Suarez. I was actually high on him. I don't know if you listen to Stay Green. I was like, I think Suarez, he's a guy that usually finds the front, but here's the deal. I think he's going to have to stay out when everyone pits. And I don't think that he's eventually going to have to pit, because guys are only going to pit when they're inside a window. So he's going to have to stay out at some point to get the track position, and he's going to need tires to matter. And if tires matter, then he's going to be screwed anyway because he stayed out. I just don't know how Daniel Suarez works his way up there, but he's kind of a guy that I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. I did fade him with Logano and Byron. I don't know if those prices are around anymore. Maybe the Logano price. I think Todd released that on the Bet the Board website. Yeah, Suarez was bad. Truex over Suarez. I mean, I like, I want to say that that's a great bet, but Truex wasn't that good. And he's not starting like 15 positions ahead of him. He's 27 to 35th. But when you look at there's actually good drivers between them. So if Daniel Suarez were to make up ground, he'd have to pass some decent cars. It's not like he's passing chumps to get up to Truex. That's with Busher, Dinger, Hamlin, Berry, Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski. Yeah, I don't know. LaJoie struggled. Gregson, beyond terrible. But I don't know. This is a place where maybe Gregson finds a high line or the cushion and maybe get something done. I had no idea. And then BJ McLeod should probably finish last. So I don't think Ross, I don't think Larson was searching. I thought RFK was going to be a lot better. I did too. You want to bet Kyle at 12? Yeah. Yeah, Jacob, you have a local that doesn't pull his odds, so you just have pre-week odds after practice and qualifying. That's good. Truex over Suarez. Suarez looked terrible. I just don't trust Truex either. Like, my goal is not to gamble. That's, I guess, if you were to kind of, how much can I bet without feeling like I'm gambling? Like, I want to, I don't want to lose a bet. Losing a bet is terrible. Not just value. Oh, I took a stab. I don't do that. I don't take stabs. I just want to win. So best bet. I did. I think I gave out, I don't know if this price is here, so don't crucify me if it's not there. I think I gave out minus 150 Logano over Suarez. I think that was my kind of best bet. Outright perspective and my pick to win the race, I'm going to pick Chris Bell. I think that yesterday his car looked the best. He was put in some tough situations and was able to, kind of come out ahead. And that's who I think has the best car. and kind of the I don't want to say the best talent, but right now I feel like that the Chris Bell and that 20 car are going to be the best tonight. So, we'll see what happens. This is a tough race. I don't have that much. Like I said, I've bet 3 matchups, and that's pretty much it. And I don't know the prices around for most of those. Kind of taken off a little bit, but yeah, I guess with that, happy race day. I'm going to go back and watch the rest of this Masters. Looks like Rom pretty much has this thing. Where did he hit his drive on 13? Is he piped on 13? Because if he is, it's gonna be he knocks that on the green. It's gonna be really tough. But I mean, you still got some other tough holes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But all right, everybody, let's take a final poll. Happy Easter and happy race day, and taking a poll. 11-1 on Rom is good. Jacob, you should be all right.